Welcome to the Produce Industry Podcast, your weekly download on current events, trends, market reports, and community discussions. Join us each week from Tampa, Florida, as we cover all aspects of the produce supply chain industry. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, my boy, the voice of the produce industry, Patrick Kelly.
Hey, produce people, welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kelly, also known as A Lil Citrus, coming to you live from Tampa, Florida, right here in the Ag Life Media Studios, brought to you by the Produce Industry Network. Everyone, I love bringing the freshest message to your table, or heck, while you're driving to work in a tractor or just at the office. We're here to bring you all things fresh produce and supply chain. So everyone, we've got a co-host today. We've got a very special guest who flew in to Tampa. It might be his first time in the Tampa Clearwater area. So we're gonna take him out. We're gonna show him a good time and show him that Florida's just not about humidity. Okay. I think he brought some of the weather with him. It's a little chill outside for being July, and we got some rain. I mean, rain obviously always happens, but it's going to be a good one today, everyone. And what I love about this episode is it cross mingles two companies and that work together. So I think that's what's going to be really cool about this. And if you have been tuning in last week, that you saw Ross Nelson, Ross, the produce boss, right here in the studio. We did 2 recordings that week, and this now today is what you get to be a part of. I want to go ahead and bring Ross on, because we're going to talk about a couple updates before we get started. So Ross, welcome back to the show, my friend. As soon as I get you on camera, though.
Come on, Patrick. You can do better here.
I know. A story of my life, right, man? So trying to figure out how to work technology, right?
Hey, you got to learn to engineer and podcast all at the same time.
Listen, I'm like the production manager, production assistant, like everything in between. Couple announcements though before we get started, and obviously, it's the week, Ross. It's OPS week.
It's OPS week.
Right?
Everything's going on.
Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do?
Like with the retail tours to the education to the expo, it is going to be a busy couple of days in Monterey, and I know I am looking forward to it.
100%.
Always a great show. That's why it's my 3rd year as an ambassador. I really support the show, and I love everything that they're doing. I've attended it many, many times, and it's a favorite.
I know. We talked about that last week as well. Like I said, there's a couple booths I want you to go stop by. And I say this always because it's not just like, Ross, you have to go stop by. It's like, I find companies, right, Ross? We talked about this. Yeah. And one of them is Rowdy Rabbit. So shout out to Rowdy Rabbit Organics. It was funny because I was in a natural grocers. It was just about 2 months ago. I was traveling, and I was in the process of already talking to, Penrose Farms. And I always ask, like, hey, where do you work? Can I find your product? What can I do? And so they obviously told me, but all of a sudden I showed up at a natural grocers, Ross, and boom. Like,
there you are. There you see it.
And I saw Rowdy Rabbit Organics, their tomatoes. So I did a little video, and I just like, that's what's so cool about it, right? Is that we get to see what's happening. We get to see our partners in crime, right? Or people that we're just talking to, and we get to see them out in the open. So again, check out Rowdy Rabbit. They're going to be at the OPS. Okay. And everyone, I have to say it like that because there's 2 trade shows that are coming, really back to back. So Rowdy Rabbit is going to be at OPS booth 1108. Okay. And everyone, again, check out Rowdy Rabbit. You're going to love it. I got to see the other commodities they have within that logo. It's a cool logo. It reminds me of like that Bad Bunny logo almost a little bit.
Bad Bunny. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. It's a pretty.
You see it. Cool, you see it war out there. There's a lot of. It's being repped.
Yeah, and then the next thing is IFPA Food Service is coming next, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that again, Zag Technological Services. We have a powered by station that's going to be just by Zag. We're going to interview some of their clients. Again, cybersecurity. Again, we talked about it last week. There's companies getting hacked. There's their internet, right? Their accounts, their databases. This is all stuff that in a digital world you need to understand.
Protect yourself.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
You have to. And you never know when you're next, right? I mean, I used the example of the tetanus shot last time. There's so many examples you can use in your real life
Well,
of
and
what to do, right?
we get run through scenarios at our organization just for security where they'll send different emails and try to test people, and if you fail, then you gotta go through some additional training. So it comes down to every employee can be the conduit to be affected.
100%, man. I definitely agree with that statement, because as we move into, you brought a guest. I say you brought, but you were like, hey, we got to get.
I roped him in to come in. I
You
pulled some
did.
strings. Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy because so I met Tony Nuovo. Geez, this will be at West Coast Produce Expo in 2021 when we first came back, I believe, and we had him on the podcast, and it was right around the time where Tony really started grower stock, and the development phases were coming into play. But obviously it's changed a lot, right? Things have changed, times have changed, technology's changed, right? And I think that's one of the big things, is that when you look at like AI driven technology, is people do get afraid right off the bat. But I always have to say, like, you know, what are we going to get out of this episode? What are the key takeaways? You and the Fresh Edge group actually use grower stock as a tool at Fresh Edge. Am I right?
That is correct. Yeah, I do.
So we'll do that. Why don't we start by that, and then we'll take a break and get Tony on. But I think it's important from the outsider's view. Without let's not have Tony give the 35,000 foot overview. But like, if you were to say this, like, you just got your brand new car, right, Ross? You're not trying to sell someone your car, but you want to tell them what you love about it or why it works. Can you give our audience a little bit of that, you know, glimpse of the grower stock, why it works, why do you guys use it? Right, like, I'm on here on the other hand listening. Tell me, Ross.
Yeah. So for us, you know, we have a very complicated RFP process, and, you know, we have many companies to many suppliers, and it kind of goes back and forth with the Fresh Edge as the conduit and the contracting entity of it. So Grow Stock allows us to handle those many different complex and unique processes and put it into a simple tool that facilitates from requesting the pricing to getting all of the negotiation done, to sharing it with our group, to finalizing and awarding the commitments. And we're in a unique situation. You know, data can get messy when you're trying to do it on a spreadsheet. With this, you can track real live when they went in, how they accepted it, and what is the truth and the final pricing. So, you know, once we award it, we're able to kind of do some contract compliance. The suppliers all of our group are able to go in and see exactly what is going on in grower stock. And from my point of view, I can get a lot more information, narrow it down, and really analyze it and present to the group, you know, whether it's just one option, whether it's all the options, or some kind of combination in between. And, you know, we started working with grower stock beginning of 2024. And I would say from that time to where we're at today, it's really evolved and morphed. And working with Tony has been fantastic, because we've really taken it from what it was and made it personalized and custom to really what benefits our group. And I will say Tony's been great at listening to any kind of feedback, criticism, whatever it may be, and working to make sure that this grower stock platform provides the value that all parts of the supply chain are looking for, from our point of view, from the grower point of view, and even from our opco's point of view. You know, we're all interfacing at different levels and in different ways, and we want to make sure that it is cohesive and works for everyone. So we use it for the RFP. There's also RFQ that you could do pricing with. There's the USDA. We're able to use it to analyze things. So for us, it's become a great tool in our toolbox in what we're trying to do in contracts and RFPs.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. And then just looking at some of the stuff, I would say that they do, right? And which is pretty cool, right, Ross? Is that we look at. It's funny because I was talking to you guys earlier about this, and we're not going to give it all away before Tony, but when you search for something, when you look for something, when you're trying to find out information about an organization, where you go to do that search, and AI is really big on that right now. And I say really big on that because everybody's starting to use AI, and AI won't replace your job. The person who learns how to use AI will replace you. Okay. This isn't, I always say this isn't Cyberdyne. Okay. But this is Skynet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not, like, all of a sudden the Terminator's not taking over. It's funny, right? We talk about that because that is AI, right? But this is a cloud-based sourcing procurement platform. You talked about RFPs, you talk about RFQs, you talk about quote tracking, you talk about price sheets. And additionally, I know that Growstock has introduced a new procurement automated like liaison right within the AI assistant. So these are all things that are cool that I believe that I'm curious about, but then also I think our industry needs to understand and know about too, right, Ross? Because
100%.
Where else are we going to be without it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it provides efficiency, it provides accuracy, and it gives transparency through the process. So for in my current role, it is the tool that I need to really keep everything straight, because otherwise the data and information can get messy, can get not a clear process. And for us, keeping it all straight for the supplier side, for our company side, this just provides that. And really the real-time tracking, and we're even continuing to work with Tony and the team and continue to put more work on his plate and adding more and more, but he's been a great partner and we appreciate everything that he does for us.
That's amazing. Hey, let's take a quick break. Let's hear from one of our sponsors. Then we get back. We'll welcome Tony on.
Let's get Tony on here. Let's get Tony on.
120 years ago, in Groningen, the Netherlands, a small produce business began, trading fresh local fruits. By the 1930s, the Vandenberg family moved to Rotterdam, Europe's burgeoning fruit hub. But when the 1940s brought turmoil, they fled to America, rebuilding their legacy in fresh produce. In 1958, Jack Vandenberg became a trailblazer, importing fresh Chilean fruit to the US, opening doors to global flavors. Today, that spirit of growth and innovation continues, with sustainable packaging, carbon footprint tracking, and the finest fruit varieties. We're redefining freshness for the future. Family, fresh, innovation, celebrating a legacy 120 years in the making. This is Jack Vandenberg.
That's right, everyone. Welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast. It's always great to hear from Dynamite sponsors creating dynamite content for the produce and supply chain industry. And we are back right here in studio. And we got my man, Ross, the produce boss, who is co-hosting today. So Ross, welcome back.
Oh, yeah. Man. Thank you.
I love that.
It's good to be here in Tampa.
Like, if this was Howard Stern, you're like my Robin today. You're like in the corner over to the left of me. I can't really see you, but you're still here. We got Tony in the studio, but it's all good, right?
We're making it work, man. That's what we do in the supply chain. We always find the way to navigate it and adapt.
All right. Well, let's. Why don't we bring on our
get Tony on here? We got to bring Tony on, man,
for the day, because that's what it's all about. I mean, no one wants to hear from us anymore, right?
We're done. Just turn us off.
We're done. We are done, everyone. Let's welcome Tony on the show today. Tony, what's happening, my man?
What's going on, Tony?
Thanks for having me. It's good to see you again, Patrick.
Let's put him in the big screen. How about that?
Oh, there we
go. He's big time. Mr. Big Time.
Forget about it. Oh no, this is great, man. And I'm gonna try and Ross, I'm gonna switch this out. Watch this once I figure out my screens here in a second. We are gonna be ready to go. Watch this. Watch. There. Now I feel good with Tony on that side. Don't you feel better with Tony on that side, Ross?
He's jiving.
Yeah, it makes it all worthwhile. But Tony, as we were talking about this, like AI platforms, right? We talked about RFPs, we talked about RFQs. Man, when we met 4 years ago, mm-hmm. it was so new. And I think that even you were saying like the industry itself, it's not that they weren't ready for it. Mm-hmm. I think they are ready for it. I think it's just about change and adapting. Mm-hmm. And I've been curious all the time to understand these types of things. You've got success happening with someone like the Fresh Edge Group because they're using it. Mm-hmm. And this is where I want to start is right here is that, Tony, when you go to search something, and if you're 45 years and younger, right? What search platform do you think they're going to ask a question to?
I'd say Google.
Right?
Yeah.
You would say Google. That's what I would say. Yeah. Okay. So
not anymore.
Right, Russ. First choice is YouTube.
Mm.
What is, how is, how to. It's all about, why am I going to look up on Google for something for me to read? They want to look up something that's going to give them tangible
Here's the
items
answer.
to look at, right? Yeah, right, Ross? I mean,
Yeah.
so ChatGPT is another one.
Oh, 100%. My wife has moved all the way to ChatGPT for
Right, so
searches.
I have to throw that out there, because you got in today's world, right? You're going to have, and I'm going to read this, but in today's world, you're going to have someone that's going to say, what is, right? So I did it. I went ahead and said, what is grower stock on ChatGPT, Tony? I know, right? And you're like, okay.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
So Grower Stock is a cloud-based sourcing and procurement platform tailored specifically for the fresh produce industry. It serves as a real-time digital hub where buyers and suppliers can connect, quote, and close deals efficiently. The platform integrates AI-driven tools to streamline the procurement process, enhancing collaboration across the supply chain. That features key features such as RFPs, RFQs, quote trackers, e-price sheets, and adding the new procurement automated liaison. So the Grower Stock platform is designed to complement existing systems, requiring no major overhauls, and aims to optimize the procurement process for produce professionals. That is what you're going to get when you type it into ChatGPT.
Well, we're done here.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. That nailed it.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining the Produce Industry Podcast today.
Well, and I think what is unique too is I put it into a different AI and it came with a little bit of a different result. And I'll read mine right here. So it says Grower Stock acts as a smart real-time hub for produce professionals to connect, quote, and close deals, bringing a higher level of precision and insight to the fresh produce industry through its state-of-the-art enterprise sourcing software.
Wow.
So I think it also depends on what AI tool you are using.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's very
again,
good, yeah.
right, and development. So Tony, that's where we're going to start, right? Because as you're a newcomer into the industry, you're a new buyer, you're seeing all these spreadsheets come across, right? Hundreds, thousands. Me as a citrus salesman, I'm constantly getting all of these RFPs from different customers. And we have to do it. And oh my gosh, sometimes you get confused, like terminology, language. Yeah. So let's talk about Grower Stock and how that it brings it all together for the industry.
Yeah, Patrick. I mean, starting there is a great example of the need for what we're doing at Grower Stock. The spreadsheets, the PDFs, the pricing email chains, like all these things that the industry is used to dealing with today. They've managed. You manage to get through it all. As you do, but it's not the most efficient way, right? And there really needs to be a better method for collaboration. And, although you've made it work, there has been a lot of feedback from, I'd say, both the buying and the supply side for a tool to help them collaborate better and to be able to track this all the way through. And so we took a lot of that feedback and put it into our most recent products, like our RFP process. And, if you look, I always like to say, look at other industries, right? Other industries, even in volatile markets like the oil and gas industry, they have embraced tools like Grower Stock to be able to get more insight and reduce risk and collaborate better. So, we noticed in the produce industry that really they needed something like this too, and it came not from us, it came from everybody in the industry. And so, we decided, hey, it's time for something better. Let's start to look at the way everybody works. And I think the upside for us at Grower Stock is that we're not changing anything. We've essentially digitized the way you guys work today. So what you see is fairly familiar, but what we do is we make it collaborative, right? As opposed to disconnected, which is what you guys used to do. I mean, right now you get a spreadsheet and then you fill it out, you figure it out, you email it off, you negotiate, send back another copy. And, where are you? What version? What's the right price? And there's so much confusion in the process, and it eats up a lot of time. And so there's really no need for that. And so with our product, we've taken all of the guesswork out and made it much easier for you guys to connect. And I think it's just the right time for this. The industry has a lot of Well, up and coming people in the industry that use Amazon, they use Uber, they're expecting products and software to work for them. And I think to your point earlier when you were talking about AI, I always get the same kind of question too. It's like, oh, AI is coming for our jobs, and the reality is that AI is really a supportive tool. I mean, when you know how to use AI, it's your best partner, and will really help you solve things faster. Now, maybe you could do them on your own, but I bet you couldn't do them as fast.
100%. 100%. I mean, and being in the fresh produce industry, I mean, Ross knows this as being in the procurement side. I know this being on sales and business development side, even things like automation. I mean, listen, we all have to send emails, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's nice to be able to, before your spell check or everything would be rereading it. How cool is it now that you can actually put an email into Chat GPT or something and just tell it like, how does this sound if I'm trying to give this tone or this perspective? Or you might write it in a way that you're thinking it sounds good too, but someone else might read that and go, man, this guy's being really direct. So sometimes you can even put into a Chat GPT and say, is this email warm, soft, and not hard selling? And it'll tell you. And then I always say, like, to my son, right? Don't use Chat GPT for the answer. Use Chat GPT as a source to create your own answer, right? So it's like, I need help writing an email to a client that I'm just like, I'm working on, and there's emotions involved and things like that. And I'm like, okay, here's the email. Please rewrite this with being humble, respectful, this, and this. And then I don't copy and paste it. I read it and go, that's what I was trying to say. Because sometimes we don't know that. And AI helps with that. And I said that to Ross earlier. I went to the grocery store a few weeks ago and there was so much out of stock product at Publix. And we don't know what the reason was, right, behind it. But even like a guy like Empower Fresh that we talked to that does the ordering for the warehousing and stuff like that, maybe like Ross goes, well, maybe someone missed that. Maybe that person didn't write down the right notes, or they called in sick, or all these different things. Do we want that stuff to happen still, Tony? Or we'd rather use a tool that can help mitigate some of those things, out of stocks, replenishments. Oh, wait, was that 38.97 he said? Let me check my text message or my email, or right?
Yeah.
Like, or how many times have someone typed in 37.89 and they really just their nice thick finger press 38. And then they're like, no, it's a retract. That happens all the time, man, in our business.
Yeah, I could say, well, Ross knows we've had conversations around this, and how many errors there are.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just the nature of the industry because of the tools that exist, right? And there are great tools out there.
Yes.
And there's some legacy tools that are deeply embedded in the industry, but this is a new era. I mean, we need new tools to do the things that we know we're capable of doing.
Correct.
And although the legacy tools are great and they serve a purpose, there really isn't a tool to move us forward. And there are great tools in specific industries, but this industry is unlike anything else. I mean, I can't say it enough. You guys know this, having worked in other industries as well. It's, we're not selling widgets here.
No.
There's just too many variables. No. So if you're not developing a tool that is bespoke to the produce industry, it won't fly. Yeah. It won't serve both parties. It won't serve the grower shippers. It won't serve the buyers. So we had to build something that is strictly for the fresh produce industry, and we did. And again, with lots of support from all of our partners and from our early founders and our advisors, who are all industry experts that really helped us build something that speaks to both sides. And we're still at the very beginning. We're doing some amazing things, but the future is bright because
amazing.
We build this stuff now, right? I love it.
But it's so true, man. It's things that it's a passion. It's not like you sat there and was like, I have an idea. I'm going to make money off this right now. Yeah. It was more like, I see this as working, right, Ross? And that's what we talk about all the time. It's like when we see what working, we see the passion. Well, we're not trying to sell you our new car. We're just trying to show you what we love.
Well, and that's what worked well with Tony is we've had the relationship and working together to where, hey, we needed to do this. Hey, can it do this? I mean, just doing the process with it, we've learned so much and say, well, I didn't even think about that. Can it do this? And we've morphed it into what it's doing now. And we've talked about AI. We're excited to do more with AI and grower stock, and just it's a great tool to work with and continue to adapt where, some software companies like, no, this is the box. You get this. And Tony's like, hey, yeah, let's work on that. That would be a great addition. There's different applications for that. And that's the kind of partner we really enjoy.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I think working with the team at Fresh Edge, because they do have vision as well, and I think what they've seen in terms of what the platform can do, and realistically, by digitizing any process, you start capturing more data sets, and those data sets become quite valuable, because before you weren't capturing them. They were siloed off in a spreadsheet somewhere and not linked together. But when you think about what we're doing, everything is connected now. And so as powerful as AI is, it's almost useless if it doesn't have the right data sets to pull from. And you can use ChatGPT all day long, and you can use tools that exist today with the ERPs, right? Even the BI tools that exist that you guys, that are prevalent in the industry, and they're really good, looking backwards, right? And looking at these limited data sets, but they lack context, for the future. And that's really where I think we differentiate at Grower Stock. We're looking forward. We have the information, we have the quotes, we know what the markets were doing, we know what your last contract did, and we have a certain level of data sets that can be utilized to determine how you decide to move forward. And I think that's the exciting part about Grower Stock, is that we are quite different than what exists today. Although a lot of people, are still trying to figure out who we are and what we do, like, wait, you're an ERP, but that's the beauty of it, is that there is nothing like us. No one else exists like us. And so, what we're doing is solving problems that really exist in the industry, and we have great partners that are helping us do it. And I'm very excited about the future for Grower Stock and what it means in terms of future development and future ideas.
Well, I want to talk about like a customer. I'm a consumer, or I always say that, like, I'm the vendor, right? Mm-hmm. I always have it backwards, man. I'm always like, the vendor's the customer, the customer's the vendors, because without the vendors, we really don't have anything, right? I always say that, like, without growers, packers, shippers, the retailers don't have anything but a box, right? A wholesale box. So, okay, so I'm on the vendor side. Okay, Ross, Tony, I'm sitting here going, all right, I'm about to submit an RFP to 3 or 4 retailers or wholesalers, and they send me these spreadsheets, and I'm sitting here like, one, I've got questions, right? And then you never want to bother that buyer. Hey, what does this mean? What is your terminology? Because sometimes they all have different terminology, right? So Ross, I'm a vendor of your group, right? I'm a vendor of Fresh Edge and Indie Fruit, and an RFP comes out. Traditionally, your process before was what? What would you do before? When an RFP, would you send an Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah, send a spreadsheet. Yep, send a spreadsheet.
Give that 30-second overview real quick.
Yeah, so before, we would send the spreadsheet, collect them all, try to analyze them together, and then from there, share it with the group, make decisions, and then send it back to the vendors. With Grower Stock, we're able to collect all that information into one data point, data hub, do our analysis, do a side-by-side comparison. We can export it. We can do all sorts. We can manipulate it, in different ways and present it to our group, whether we want to present all 5 vendors, we want to present 1 or 2 vendors, which are the better options. So our group relies on us to analyze it and really provide them the best opportunity for whatever program we're trying to provide. And then from there, all of our group can make the commitments in Grower Stock, and then we award the RFP through Grower Stock. And there's even a little like notes function for us, so we can put notes, historical. We can utilize USDA data to say, hey, how does this program compare to last year's season? USDA data, how does this program compare to our last contract? And we can really do a lot of things with the information that we had trouble doing before, or we had to do in different silos before, versus it all being in one data point. And it lives there, to what Tony's point is now. We've been doing it now for over a year. So we've got last year's information. We've got last year's USDA. So we can start to say, okay, looking back at 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, how does this compare? What are we really need to do? Do we need to think differently? Do we need to look at trigger language differently? Do we need to structure our contracts in a different way because of how the industry is changing, how the markets are changing, so that it's beneficial for us and also beneficial for the suppliers? Because to your point, without the grower shipper, we have no produce industry.
Right. I mean, that makes sense, right, Tony? Because that's like, as I look at it, it's like, if I'm going to be the guy that is the vendor of Fresh Edge, right? That's a vendor of these companies. I need to solidify how I do things too, because we all know, Ross, and you've been here so many times, that sometimes these spreadsheets take 8-9 weeks. Let's be real, right? And how many times have we had this happen? Tony, you've heard this, to where they forget to press save, right? And then you get the spreadsheet where they resave it, or have you ever had where they enable the macros in the real sheet, and then when you try to change something, it messes up the entire sheet, and then you got to go back to the buyer. Hey, Tony, can you resend me the sheet again? And then they're like, hey, by the way, why did you change this? Because they have it so encrypted to where even though they sent it to you, it's still encrypted on their side, so you can't change anything. Right? It happens all the time, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And they, in many cases, might not know how to fix it either. I mean, it's
because it's Microsoft Excel,
exactly.
Right?
So, you're stuck in a hard place. And I think that's, and again, this is at all levels, the smallest, vendors, smallest buyers to the largest. Everybody has the same problems.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it's just, it's prevalent. It's not just one group's issue. It's everybody's. And, I think, to Ross's point, the ability to do this quickly, within minutes, right? I mean, Ross can literally send out an RFP within minutes. And I think everything, is important with regard to speed, right? It's we spend so much time doing these things that if we can shorten that sales cycle or that procurement cycle process significantly, it allows Ross to be able to do other things that he needs to do. And they're really, I think that's really what it comes down
100%.
to. It's just really speeding up, saving everybody time, getting rid of all the you're always going to have some mistakes, but you get out most of those mistakes. And then most importantly, I think because it's a multi-sided platform, the vendors or suppliers are just as important to the process as the buyers. And so, we're
100%,
we're developing all the same tools for the suppliers on platform. So, I mean, think about it. How nice would it be, Patrick, for you to walk into your office in the morning, not see 1,000 emails, trying to figure out who you got to respond to first. But let's say you open up your grower stock, and in that window, you could see which of your buyers are actively sourcing, right? And you get, you see your requests for quotes, you see RFPs. It shows you the status of where you are on those RFPs. Have you submitted them yet? Is there counter offers? And what's the USDA today on all the items that you sell? Seeing it all in one big picture, and then having that historical information too. So everything you submit eventually is there and lives forever for you to be able to find quickly. So if you do a second RFP, hey, what did I do on the last RFP?
And that's what I was going to ask. Yeah. Like, can you see, like, if I'm a vendor and I'm doing 3 years, do you keep that 3 years historical RFP data
you have a CMS that keeps all of your buyer information, all of everything you've submitted. So the thing that I think is most exciting, and again, this is what we've been working on with Fresh Edge and Ross, was, a CMS that basically enables when a deal is made, when a handshake is done.
Okay.
It moves to a CMS, and you as a supplier see the exact same thing I as a buyer see. You see the pricing that was agreed to, you see the trigger language, you see commitments, right?
I like it.
And then we have what we call the contract monitor. And this is very unique to what we do. And this is, if there's trigger language tied to any of these prices, we have it all tied to the USDA. So in real time, you can see what's triggered. The buyer,
because the USDA does the trigger price,
Right. So so if the contract, let's say, is tied to, a particular district or
Okay.
whatever it might be, our software sets that all up in real time. Let's say it knows your triggers at $3 and it's a 1-for-1, right? Increases $1 for every dollar, up and down, and maybe you have a cap included. The software calculates all of that in real time.
So you're not relying on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, you're no longer trying to figure out, okay, am I triggered? Am I not triggered? And how many times do you miss that information?
You do.
All the time.
How many times Ross, how many times do you get spreadsheets that aren't filled out and with those?
Yeah.
Because people will say to you, that doesn't apply to me.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Or I don't know. Right. Because they don't understand it.
So in this case, once we solve the problem with trying to make the deal happen and get rid of all those mistakes and make it flow quickly, then we follow it all the way through to completion. So if, as a supplier, you can look at the same trigger information that I am as a buyer. So we start to develop a central source of truth here. Right. And that's the ultimate goal, is that if everybody has visibility, there's a lot less time dealing with issues.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
You're going on to do more things. And the same thing we talk about here at the podcast studio. You were here to see the setup, right?
Yeah.
Well, Jet, our production assistant, he's not there yet. Yeah. We're still learning the process. I told you my editor, he died in February, and it was sudden. So like a lot of this that I'm having to do is I've never done this before. I know getting on the computer and recording, but now we got cameras, we got lights, we've got, a lot of different things. Yeah. And same thing with Jet. Jet's learning this stuff, because guess what it's going to do? It's going to allow me to, when you get here, we're sitting down and we're ready to go. Yeah. Right. And that's where your ROI comes into place. Yeah. People, what's the ROI on the platform? Is it saving us more money? Is it doing this? Is it doing this? One, we know the most valuable part of your business is your people. Mm-hmm. Number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, they always are your largest expense. Yeah. So there's your answer right there. If you're able to take back 5, 8, 10 hours a month for an employee that's making $150,000, $200,000 a year, we're talking $1,000 a day at some points if you're looking at this, right?
Yeah, I mean, time is money, right? It's always been.
And produce, we don't like to say that thing, right? Because the produce are like more time, work more, blah, blah. But it's so true that ROI comes from your people.
It does immediately, right?
Immediately,
and not to mention, after that, all of the additional data sets and points that come from capturing this data, right? So understanding, like I said, when it comes back to the ERPs of the world, it's great. You have what you did, right? It's a great picture or snapshot of the past, but it's not connected to the future. It's not connected to markets. We're connected to markets. So we have the ability to provide you data to make, to compare, let's say, how did your high-low do versus your fixed?
We never know.
I'll tell you what, Grower Stock could tell you in 30 seconds.
That's cool.
And so those are the types of things that I think have real world value. And, and again, it's just the beginning. I think one of the things I always like to make clear is that I don't think we're doing anything necessarily different or new. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of very savvy people in the industry that are very technical. But the problem is it's scale, right? You can be a very, very technical, let's say, data-centric person, but you can only do so much.
Yes.
At an enterprise level, we're talking hundreds of contracts and thousands of items and markets. And I mean, there's just no way any human or even teams of people can really address all of that information. This is where a platform comes into play. We can do this at scale. And I think, that's key. Even if you can do it, it's still not possible. You don't have enough hours in the day.
True that. Well, listen, we're going to take our last break. It'll be just a minute. And then when we come back, Tony, let's give our industry some key takeaways. Yeah. Right. If they're not doing this now, how can we help them save time? What they should be looking for when it comes to AI, because we want them to research in the right way, right?
Of course.
And then we'll let Ross give a couple key takeaways on being on the customer side of yours, on some key takeaways on if you decide to do it, this is some of the things that could happen in your procurement business. So everyone will be right back.
Zag Technical Services, we do many things. Managed services for IT needs, including consulting. Another area of expertise for us is cybersecurity, making sure that there's awareness and risk prevention. And then the final piece is the data and software services, where whether it's software automation, data management, even AI, we have things that we can do to help your business. Those are core components that your company relies on. So we have a rich history of being able to manage these IT services so that you don't have to worry about them. You trust us so that we keep your operations going and your business going ultimately. When we talk about what AI can do for you and the time savings, even though you don't think you have something that you can just put AI in, you probably do if you have a business case that could be benefited from automation or efficiencies that are brought in. We can trust AI to do those things, and the beauty of that is you can free up time for your employees to do more meaningful work. So even if you think you may not benefit, I think it's worth a conversation because you will be surprised. We'll walk you through every step of the way, and we're here to help.
Hey Ross, what do you? I love about seeing the Zag Technical Services. It's always amazing to see all of our partners from Noble Citrus to Wahi Mint Oil, just all around the board, man. I just love seeing dynamite content, dude.
Gotta have it. Gotta have dynamite content with dynamite sponsors.
Always, man. And
I know you're always looking for more people to do media packages with. So reach out.
I mean, listen, the big thing is, Tony said this earlier and we're jumping back on, is that we're also used to doing the same thing. We're also used to the same platforms, the same programs that have been integrated into our produce life, right? And sometimes it's hard for us to change. So I love seeing all the new content and all the things we're doing. Let's get Tony back on.
Yeah, and Tony also mentioned, about being tech savvy. If you're not at least looking at it, staying in tune, you're going to be way behind because technology is coming, things are going to be happening, and you want to be a part of it. So you may not need to be the expert, but you at least need to have some knowledge and be ready because it's happening. AI is coming.
100%. Well, let's get into some of these key takeaways because I think we've talked a little bit about the Grower Stock platform. We encourage you to go back, listen to the original episode with Tony to see the growth, right? I mean, that was 4 years ago. Yeah. We're going to post that link in the comments as well because we want people to understand too the process, where you were, what you were doing, where you're going, and now the future. So let's give some key takeaways to our guests here that are listening today. Is like, if you're thinking about AI, what should you do? There's the first, well, I kind of give a takeaway on that. And then the second, if you do grab the platform, tell them what they should expect. Because I think a lot of times they don't even know what to expect. They just think like, oh, I got it. It's supposed to do this. So let's talk about those. Give some key takeaways on those aspects, please.
Yeah, happy to. I think, from an AI perspective, it's, especially let's say with regards to the produce industry, it's about saving time primarily, right? It's also about operating at scale. So doing things that might take you weeks to, or even months to do if you have the free time. And it does things that in many ways weren't possible before. I take for an example with our platform, it being able to start to derive predictive modeling, and again, when I'm talking about this stuff, I'm talking about, AI isn't just data, right? It's context, it's explanations, right? So it's not just kind of like, hey, spitting out, some data sets that you might not understand. It's giving you, context. And I think overall it's meant to really provide you support, not replace your judgment, right? And in many cases, everybody in this industry knows their job and they know it well, for the most part. And so what they really need is just, some support. Hey, show me, help me make a better decision, because that's really what it all comes down to. It's about making data-driven decisions.
I like that.
And that's key. And that's really where we're at. That's what we're providing for Ross is, hey, we can't predict everything down to a penny. It never was. This is a volatile.
It was never like that.
Yeah, it's never been that way. It's never going to happen. But we can give you the best data, right, for you to make a decision. And that's really what it all comes down to. So if you're not there today, you got to catch up. because I will tell you, just being in, where I am and working with these groups and working with Ross and Fresh Edge, everybody today is embracing it. They're starting, more than ever. I'll tell you, it was a lot different discussion even just a year ago, but today people are realizing the power of not just AI, but technology in general, right? And automation. And so, if it's here to make our lives easier, we should embrace it and we should run with it as quickly as possible. And don't be the guy last on the train.
Yeah.
No.
Ross, what do you think to counter off that?
No, he's right. I mean, it's made our processes so much easier. It's streamlined the data and the information, keeping it all together so that we don't have mistakes happen, because, you always had that on a spreadsheet. Is this the right one? Is that the updated sheet? Is that a 5? Is that not? Whatever it may be. And so for us, it really helps us be more efficient, provide information, and even run scenarios. Tony touched a little bit on the fix versus high-low. This year to last year, we can run a scenario and say, well, the fix last year was the better opportunity than the high-low. That doesn't mean that that's what's going to be this year, because every year a season can be different. Weather changes, how much is planned into the ground changes, everything changes each year. But at least it kind of gives us the information to start making better decisions that we didn't have before. We didn't do all of this analysis and provide the scenarios to our group. And now we have this conduit grower stock that's able to run, this was the program last year and here's how it worked. And we can now make those decisions on how we approach RFPs for the next season, the next year, in a more educated way, and make sure we're making the best educated decisions that we can make with the information that we have.
I like that.
I think that's, is
that a mic drop?
That's boom. and I think just to bounce off of that, I think what's really exciting too is the future, right? And where it's all going, from this point. And, we talk about contracts and, the hard fix, the fix with triggers, the high lows, the ones everybody knows, right? And those have really become table stakes, right? That's really where, just to get in and play the game, that's really, these are the price types you're dealing with. But I will say, with AI and with technology today, there is going to be new opportunities for creating new types of stronger contracts, ones that benefit both sides, completely, and take a lot of the guesswork out of it, and in the end just have better outcomes, and
I like that.
and that's only going to happen through software like ours, because there's not going to be office floors of people trying to manage each one of these items and each one of these terms by hand. It has to be done by software. So I do think the future is very exciting.
In collaboration.
Yeah,
I agree. And there's nobody going to be sitting in their back office making this.
Right.
Like I laugh all the time. And then we'll go ahead and close this episode out. But it's interesting because, and I'm going to say this in the best way possible. When I started the podcast in 2020, I mean, there was maybe 3 to 5 podcasts out there.
Yeah.
I always got to give props, Lori Taylor and the Produce Moms. She had one of the original podcasts to get, consumption for fruits and vegetables into kids, right?
Yeah.
Through moms. You had Brent Aaronworth, the Produce Life. But then the other ones were like University of Florida, University of Riverside. It was like more education based, or there were just ones that were like one-offs. So they had like 6 episodes or 7 episodes. Yeah. There's over like 100 now.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that I love that everyone's starting them, because it's given an outlet. But what happens is the churn rate for any new podcast, right, is so low, or right, like that keeps going. So at a 5 million podcast, guys, only 46,000 are active. So 5 million. So what's happening is people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use you, Tony. Tony's like, I'm going to start a podcast on grower stock, and we're going to talk about, I have 30 ideas for episodes, right? And you have these all ideas of, we're going to talk about the process. We're going to talk about the RFPs. We're going to give so much detail that goes over all of our stuff because we're so proud of what we did. Yeah. And then you get like 6-7 episodes in and you got like 20 views. Yeah. And you start to discourage, because in your head, you're going, well, this isn't working. Right? The biggest thing with podcasting is consistency. Yeah. Same thing with your business. You got to keep consistency going, or people are going to go, well, you were here today, gone tomorrow. And Ross just brought one up to me today. Ross, you brought up a podcast. I was like, oh, I guess this guy's done. He went and got a job somewhere, and he hasn't done a podcast in 3 years, but he was accepting sponsor money. right? And then you have other podcasts that they take big sponsor money, but do less deliverables because of their name, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how are we growing together? So I always say, like, even myself, right? There's so many platforms out there, but please decide on which you want to listen to. Do your research on them, right? Understand what the goal is of that system process, just like grower stock, right?
Yeah,
If it's not for you, it's not for you. I always say that. Like, don't get mad because someone doesn't want to buy a bowl of lettuce.
Yeah.
It just isn't their bowl of lettuce.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want that. Right. It's just what it is. Sometimes we all have different palates, different tastes, different things. So no difference, man. I'm with you on that, because the more and more we see the growth in it, it sometimes hurts us because we're like, oh my gosh, another company failed. It helps us. Right. But then we're also like, it hurts us in a way because then more people won't try it because they're like, we tried that. It didn't work. You guys tried. And they kind of lump you into the same together. So
I can see that. I think, listen, you've done a great job here on this. I mean, our first meeting was 5 years ago, I think you said. Yeah. And I mean, look at it now. This is amazing. I'm so happy to be here in Tampa, actually. My first time, of course, as you had mentioned. So excited to get out there and see a little bit of it after this. But I will say, listen, I think in anything we do, we're not trying to disrupt. I'm not trying, grower stock is not a disruptor by any means. What we are is, if anything, we're here to strengthen the industry, right? And some people say, oh, well, this is a partner, this is relationship business, this is a handshake business. 100%. I'm behind it, and we're not here to replace the handshake. We're really here to strengthen everything that happens before the handshake and everything that happens after, which makes that handshake stronger, in my opinion. So, I think what you're doing here is great. And I think today this industry is finally embracing change in an exciting way.
I agree. And I always say, ready? Ross, let's close this out, boy. Hey, Tony, great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Ross, always a pleasure. And this is what it's about, man. It's about telling dynamite stories, talking about great people. No strings attached, no red tape. This isn't corporate. We're here to tell you the truth. I always say, I want to be like the Howard Stern and Joe Rogan of produce, man. Or the Dave Barstool of the One Bite reviews. I'm not looking for the popularity. I'm just looking to get the word out, spread the word of fresh produce, and just have fun, right? I mean, that's what it's about. So, guys,
it's all about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you in the fields.
Absolutely.
And on the horizon, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.